How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Twitch stream. Hey, look, recursion. We're doing compiler stuff, just like we've been working on for the past few days. Let's make our Discord announcement. Close this. All right, we are live at twitch.tv/lens_r, Lensor. Compiler woes, part 4. All right, we're officially live. Wonderful. Hey, look, my logo popped up. All right. I think this is a good time. I got it on my phone, so we are good to go. We're officially live. Hello, everyone. I still have Emacs open from yesterday. Welcome. Is that the center? I can't tell. I'm not good at these things. Here? Sure. Oh, I'm gonna burp. Oh, excuse me. I warned you. Okay. We just should start working. Get some work done on our parsing into our AST. Like this, yes. All right, I think this isn't too insane. How's everybody doing? I woke up late this morning, but that's not unusual. I'm thinking about getting saving up for a new keyboard. One that's not so clacky. One that's a little bit thocky instead. Try and get that thock. You know what I mean? I'm getting a little obsessed with that thock. So, the question is, should environments contain parents like this? Or should we kind of wrap environments in kind of a stack, like a parser stack object that has parents? Or maybe both. I don't know. In any case, let's just try and start creating our parser context, right? So if we run the program, hopefully it works. Okay, it took a while, but that was just to compile, I hope. Oh, perfect. So this program was compiled into this AST. We have a variable declaration. It's an integer with 0. So we don't have a variable declaration initialized, so we still just parsed this part. But we have the symbol a, and it's an integer, so we have that much. So that's kind of useful, right? So what if let's see. So with this variable declaration, we're going to need to use it in further parsing, or at least in type checking. We could just create the whole AST and then type check the AST. That's also a valid approach, which would also split up parsing and type checking to 2 separate stages. It's not a bad idea, not a bad idea. Let's just figure out how we can make some progress. It looks like we're gonna at least need an environment for operators, right? Here, yes. or types. So we could improve this here. So currently we just check for the integer type, which is why we can parse this variable declaration. But it would be ideal to not have to type each type in an if statement and handle it specifically. I guess we're going to have to. Well, no, we're not. We're just going to create the type node and so we're basically going to get the type from the environment instead of from this implicit hard-coded, or explicit, I guess, hard-coded type. Okay, that makes sense. So we're going to need a type's environment, right? Should we just have one environment that contains types and variable declarations? That means you couldn't name a variable integer. And there's, I guess, no reason you shouldn't be able to do that. I know that it shouldn't create any problems because of symbols and types. Types only appear in very specific places in variable declarations, so we don't have to worry about checking a variable access. It's just a symbol. Okay, this is going good. Welcome everybody, how's it going? We are coding a compiler in C with no dependencies for fun. Check out the GitHub down below, it's all open source code. We've been working on it the past few days. Not making as much progress as I could be, but we're having fun. Yeah, so that's where the to-do comes, to fill in that value from the assignment. All right, so we have a variable declaration with two children, with a type, a value, and a symbol, an identifying symbol. Okie dokie. So let's figure out, where does this environment come from? I don't think we should create it because we're just parsing singular expressions, and there may be a single environment in which multiple expressions exist. So we're going to have to pass it functional programming style. Like that. Oh god. Does that make it better? That makes it a little better. We'll start with that. Yep, we're going GNU style. We kind of have to at this point. So we parse an expression, and this takes in an environment, which would work, but within the environment, we pass in, also, environment's just pointers. Yeah, we can pass it on the stack. That's nice. So we have a stack environment with pointers to heap allocated bindings and see, here's the thing. Each environment is a pointer, so passing it, we might as well just pass a pointer. If we had references, we would do that, but this is not C++. Hey, VMe, welcome. He says, ahoy. How's it going? Here I am, distracting you again with that amazing emote. Incredible. Thank you, Vimy. I really appreciate it. Okay, we're working on environments. So we would like to create environments. And the only reason we need to heap allocate them is so we can keep track of them in parents. So if we don't need parents, we can just not heap allocate them. And these can be stack environments with heap allocated bindings. Kind of like a hash map. Alrighty, so How are you doing today, Vimy? I woke up late, but other than that, I'm doing okay as usual. I am drinking caffeine this morning. Frustrated as hell. I relate. I'm sorry, my guy or person. I still don't want to assume your gender. I don't remember. If you want to talk, I'm here. Feel free, but I know it's kind of a public place. Feel free to message me on the Discord and DMs or whatever. If you want something more private, I am here for you. Because I get frustrated as hell too. Even about mundane shit. Like if the cat meows at me over and over, it's just like it's like getting poked over and over. Like my brain eventually treats it as like torture, and it's like each one makes me twice as mad. It just keeps growing exponentially. And it's like it's silly. It's just a cat meowing. It shouldn't affect me. But, it can affect me sometimes, especially when I have a bad day or don't sleep right. So I completely understand. Frustrated as hell. Hopefully we can take your mind off things, doing some nice Bob Ross style compiler coding. Because hey, it works. It doesn't work. I broke everything. That's right. I think I just changed this. So this is really probably shouldn't be in main, but it's fine for now. We're going to create an expression, but we're also going to create an environment. Sure. eh. CLI 11 C++ lib has a nice callback API, but it seg faults after my callback lambda is done. Rip. I've never seen that emote before. That's amazing. That lady looks insane. Is that my mom? No, I'm just messing. Uh, yeah, I feel you. I get very frustrated at programming. I yell at my computer screen if I need to, because goddamn. Sometimes the computer just needs to know its place, you know what I mean? Uh, so does we do assert? Okay. Only on my Mac. On Linux with the newest GCC, it's fine. Oh, so it's something to do. That's amazing. So, which which newest GCC are you, like 12.1, the one that just came out pretty much, or the like 10.4, the one that comes from the pack manager, like AUR or something? All right. So we can create an environment. We pass it to parse expression. Now we use that sheet. Okay, so we would like to set in the environment. I do want to remind everybody watching, there's a Discord link down below. You can go there and get notifications every time I go live, because Twitch isn't great about that, even if you follow. I would also appreciate Twitch follows, that way I can get on my path to become a Twitch affiliate and partner. So that would be great. 12.1, VMe says. Nice. Arch is very speedy with their packages. Nice. That's awesome. I just built 12.1 for Lenser OS, I think. Or did I do 11.3? I don't even remember. In either case, the Discord down below is a wonderful place. You can talk to each other, talk to me, and we all have fun there. I really recommend it. If you want to catch past streams, you can go to the YouTube link, and all my streams I export there, the VODs. So you can see all the work we've done on this compiler so far. It's very cool. And I think that's it. There's also GitHub if you want to check out any of the open source links. Oh, and then one more thing. If you have the money and extra just lying around and you want to throw it my way, I will take it. There's a donate link down below. But don't give me money that you need, because you need it. All right, I think that's it. Did I do the list, chat? I think I did it all. For now, we can try and add. So we are going to need, I think we're going to create the parsing context and pass that instead. That's crazy. Arch is already at 12.1. Didn't they make like they support some new experimental features in 12.1 or something? That's why it's the major change. I can't remember. I read them long ago. Months ago, I read the changelog. So, see, I think if this contains the parent, the environment may not have to. And we can have it kind of just within context. We'll consider it. Just gonna put that in quotes and question mark. All right. Whoa. That's why you let autocomplete do the job for you on words longer than 8 letters. Jesus. You see my brain just, I typed like environment. All the M's and the N's next to each other, and my brain kind of just loses track. It's like, is that a camel? There's so many humps. I'm so dumb. Context. The other one. There we go. You're probably mad because when we call you, this is not a context. We'll just write it out. Sure. All right, this will be a parsing context. Whoa. Again, longer than 8 letters. Let autocomplete do it for you. Could not allocate. I just started typing more than 8 letters. I am all over the place. Caffeine is not good for me. Could not allocate parsing context. Could not allocate memory for parsing context. Sure. It's not. Yeah. Why not? We can be little sticklers. We're gonna use calloc so that it memsets, because calloc sets the memory that you allocate to 0 for you, but malloc does not. It gives you uninitialized heap memory. Use of undeclared identifier CTX. I am a little bit used to Pascal. You sure it's not cocainum? Lamau, I'm pretty sure. I still have 2 nostrils that are disconnected until deep in my sinuses. So I believe I don't do cocaine. I've had doubts before, though. I've had doubts. Like, what if I am on cocaine? How would I know? I'm such an idiot. Should probably do this in context create. So this is going to be environment create. Perfect. For now, they're going to be pointers, I guess. That is how we're doing it. Oh, whoops, that's a big deal. I could do like symbols, but I think I'm just going to call it variables. We don't really need to do the C mapping thing with a symbol table. I'll just use this. So we can have an environment, which hopefully our code works to add bindings and get them. And effectively, hold on, let me sniff some more cocainum. Sorry about that slurp, that was probably disgusting. I eternally apologize. I said apologize. You know when you apologize to people? Why can't people just apologize? So, we create an environment. We would like to set things within it, get things within it. So, we use nodes. I think I'm going to need a little helper then to create a symbol because I am so polite. I don't know if you're talking about me or if you're being sarcastic, so I will agree with you. So polite. Okay. Man, it would be crazy if nodes had parents. This is breaking my brain a little bit. We need to create a helper. Also, we need to create more helpers right here, but that's fine. We're going to create a helper. We already have one to add a child, so that's nice. But we need to create one to create a symbol. Sure. We'll just do it after node compare. Yeah, before print node. Sure. So it's just going to return a regular old node. But this is going to node symbol. Sure. And this is going to take in, I guess, just a string. We don't need to have it constant. That way, I don't like casting to const. It's really annoying from heap allocated strings. So this is going to be symbol. String, sure. And then we're going to copy the symbol string because symbols have garbage collected. Or not garbage collected, but freed symbols. So I need to create a node. I should probably just... Okay, here's the thing. I should have like node allocate, I think. And this is just going to take in nothing. It's just going to give a node back. I want to return it, but I can't. I have to make a stack and return that. Okay. We're going to callic one node. Thank you. I wish callic, like I wish C was powerful enough where you could just pass type names as variables. Like, ooh, that's actually not a bad idea. What if there was a node which could be a type? Like a type of a node was a type node, like node type type. I know this is confusing, but if we had a type node, this is hard to say. If we had a node that represented a type, any type, then you could use that type, that type of node, as a variable declaration. And then you could actually pass a type name as a variable and like get the size of it and everything. Ooh, that's actually cool. I kind of want to do that. So I don't even know how to write this down. We're just gonna go type node type. Have a type that represents all the other types. I think represents might not be the best word. Variables to be defined with a type of another type. I think that sounds cool. I don't know why that would be useful. Well, I guess for things like calc, like we just said, like when we calc, it's only meant for allocating arrays generally. Where did we just use it? It's here. Too small. So when we calc, we don't need to pass really a number here. We could have calc and pass in a type name, and it would just give us that many of that type based on the size. Ooh. Okay, that's such a good idea. I do like that a lot. We're just going to assert node because we're lazy right now. And doing it this way, we'll actually be able to very easily create a different allocation mode for the nodes. Like we could easily have a global pool, like a node pool, right? And then we could just give a pointer within this array and then change up how we free them, right? That's not really a big deal. We could totally do that. And we could also like make this a pointer and then allocate like 10,000 nodes at the start. That's basically arena allocation, but it would be easy to change up with this new function. So that's great. We can now allocate nodes. We should probably do that everywhere we allocate nodes. So this is, it's a node allocate, because this is C. There's already an assertion. So we don't need to assert even. We just need to say, do that, please. Allocated child equals node allocate. So then that will get us a heap allocated node that is guaranteed to not be null, so we can dereference it right away. Alrighty. That's pretty cool. So the node that we pass to add child can be freed. That's something that we may want to note. Parent is modified. New child. Since they're parameters, they get all caps. Why not? Parent is modified. New child is copied. Yeah, sure. Shallow copied, because we don't like copy children. We just copy, like, it's a very shallow copy. We're not using a node copy function. All right, so this is cool. We can now allocate nodes. And we should do that. Why are you mad? Node type symbol, node type variable declaration. Well, are we not using node compare yet? That would make sense why this doesn't trigger, but this should trigger because it's a value of 7. It's a type of int, right? I should just be able to do that and it would work. But I don't think I even need to do that. It's an enum in C. In either case, we gotta rewrite this code eventually. Okay, node symbol. So now, hey look. We can actually begin here now. it would be a node type symbol. That's what symbols are. And its value uses symbol because it's a symbol. And it would equal, hey look, that thing. I think this is just a deprecated warning from MSVC because that's what ClangD uses on Windows, but I'm not using MSVC. Everything is fine. Even if it is deprecated, it's not a problem. If strdup like drops out of the C library, I would be so surprised. I think they just deprecated it for safety in the Windows codebase. Because I believe that the libc you use on Windows is the libc they use in the kernel. So there's definitely some fucky stuff going on there. So what else do we have? We have a child. I don't think symbols will ever have children, but we may use a symbol node as a parent somewhere, so make sure those are null. Also important for when we free, I guess, that the child doesn't point to some uninitialized memory. Then on Windows we would crash trying to free an address that we did not allocate. Linux is like boss man about that. They're like, you're trying to free something you didn't allocate? That's all good. We'll keep going. Keep on running your program. Windows is like, yeah, you freed memory that you didn't actually allocate, so we're terminating your program. It's like, oh, Jesus. I think I just returned symbol at this point. So now we can create a symbol a lot easier. As long as this stays within like the result expression, we won't have to free it. Otherwise, we'll have to free it ourselves, which is interesting. Alrighty. So now we can create a symbol. This is going to be needed because we're going to have to create some types out of the gate within the types environment. Right? So when we create the types environment, we should add built-in types. Right? That way, when we go to look up the types, we'll have like the basic ones that aren't user-defined. So integer, symbol, etc. Do we need symbol? That's a good question. I don't think we need symbol. Unless we're, I mean, that would, if we would only need symbol if we're going to be doing like complicated macro system. And we can always add a symbol type. For now, we'll just say integer, but we're going to eventually, I'm sure, have strings and all sorts of fun stuff. Okay, so we can now create a parsing context, pass it into our parse expression parser, and we do that. We don't need to create environment. We do need an expression. We should ideally do something like this. Ooh, yes. Just remove these address operators, address of operators. And then I think we can do a node free on expression. Hopefully the program doesn't completely crash. Hey, it didn't. Haha. On Windows, that means we're doing pretty good. I kind of have this, but I'm just going to leave this because I still have to write that code. Because each expression is just going to be part of a program. Yeah. I still don't understand why you are on Windows. Just NTFS file system, my guy. I don't prioritize buying just an extra hard drive to copy and then spend like a week copying all the data I need to it. And then just using that to get onto a new computer while also maintaining this computer to access the it's just a complicated logistical problem. Simon the Swede says, first time chat from them. Hello Lens, how are you doing today? Hello. I am doing okay, as usual. Woke up a little late. More later than I planned, at least. I really appreciate you coming in here. How are you doing? VMe says, okay, callbacks are no more, but I have to add some ugly temp holder vars in my app class. I hate having to add extra member variables. It's like, no. There's no reason not to do it, but it just feels like such a sin. Mr. Mugame, a VM is like 20 gigabytes. I'm not saying a virtual machine is too large. I have virtual machines. I use them all like daily. I've used them yesterday on this program to make sure it runs on Linux. I have machines, virtual machines. I understand them. I run my OS in them. I just don't prefer to work in a virtual machine. I prefer to work in the native OS. Because there's nothing I can't do on Windows that you can do on Linux, other than like some TTY and PTY stuff. But all that can be done with like console handles if you really care, which I don't care. I just don't use those features anyways. If you can point me something wrong with Windows and why I should use a VM, if it's better in some way, I will. But if it's just different, I don't see why to do it. It's quicker and easier to run in the native OS. I mean, callbacks are sadly broken and I can't be arsed to debug what allocation tricks break it on horrible Mac debugger. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Apple has like a really funky heap allocator that tries to guess what you're doing based on how often you allocate, and it can kind of get lost. But yeah, it sucks when there's an external library that you can't do anything about. Like you can't go in and fix it. It's not possible. Because it's not your code, you know what I mean? You don't have the time. Mr. Mugame, Windows is a bad host OS because of the overhead. Yeah, they don't do like they're hyper virtualizing or whatever it's called. They don't do it well because it does not work. It's supposed to be like one-to-one performance. It's not on Windows, at least. You can free memory you didn't allocate and you don't have a watermark in your bottom left. Kick W. Well, what's magic about that is you don't have to see it. Also, that's the right, my guy. Figured I'd mention that. The left side, it's over here by these numbers. I can pull request the lib if I had a better Mac debugger to find the problem. Debugging is honestly the hardest thing to do in programming. It's like you just rely entirely on the OS because the OS has to make really good debugging tools, otherwise there aren't any. Yeah, true, that's the right. It's okay, Mr. Mugame. We all make mistakes. I just figured I'd mention it. I was like, I may be going crazy, but I think this is right. But yeah, that's the best part. I can just show you Emacs. You don't have to see that ugly watermark. Plus, if I paid like $100, it would be fine. LLDB is just horrible. I don't even... What is LLDB? Is that a linker? Waking up late is the standard. How long have you been programming for? I've just started to learn. Great to hear, Simon the Swede. It is the standard around here, at least. How long have you been programming for? like programming seriously, like 8 months. I've just been programming for 8 months straight, pretty much. And that's when I really learned like low level hardware and what the code I'm writing actually does and how it works. But I'd say I've been programming for like eight, 8 years. I'm 19 years old and I made like hobby stupid little calculators in C++ when I was like 11 or 12. And I made like a text editor using WX widgets or something. And I was like so proud of myself. I've just started to learn. We all got to start somewhere. Luckily, it's a great time to learn. There's so many tutorials, and there's like so many tutorials for any project you can imagine that really help guide the way and show you at least one way to do it, right? The $5 OEM license from some weird eBay seller is saving my ass. Yeah, I don't trust that. I don't want to enter like use some bootleg Windows that ends up having a rootkit or something. LLDB is a debugger from LLVM that runs on Mac. Oh Christ. I didn't even know that was a thing. So it's the LLVM debugger. That's horrible. I'm sorry, my guy. Debugging GCC is bad enough, and we have GDB even. So LLDB being worse than GDB and the only option. That's horrible. You've like might as well just manually print out the entire heap and search through it. Figure out what goes wrong. Byte by byte. All right, I'm getting distracted. Let's try and figure out what we can do. Is it print node? Yes, it is. And then I would like to node add child to the program, the expression. And then we can free the expression right after that because we copy everything, I believe. Well, actually, let's see, how do we copy? See, we just do a pointer copy, so we don't actually need to free. We can just not use the old one. But we do need to free it eventually, after we're done using it, right? It'll probably be freed as a child of the program. That's right. Okay. Distractus Totalis puts on his Harry Potter glasses. You did great. You are thoroughly distracting me. I enjoy it. Thank you everybody for watching. I know a lot of you are already in there, but there's a Discord link down below where we can all hang out, talk to each other, and you can get announcements whenever I go live, so like today. And that's much more reliable than Twitch follows because they only show it to you about 50% of the time. I actually go live. And it's based on like what message I put in. It's all algorithm stuff. I hate it. So if you actually want notifications, join the Discord. It'll be great. As well as follow on Twitch. It helps the numbers. We can start becoming a Twitch affiliate. That's fun. Strap in. I'm embarking. Oh no. VMe is on his way to Distract Town. Distract City? Distractopia. That's what it is. Oh no. I can't believe people just starting to learn programming are watching this. This is like torture programming. Like, let's write a compiler from scratch in C. Like, all of those words together equate to a crunchy cereal that's too hard to eat. Like what the original Kellogg made. Just this crunchy, tasteless, bland crap. Oh, it worked. Everybody, it worked. That's a little poug. That's a little poug. I was hoping that none of this would fail, and it didn't. I don't even have a clue about what a compiler is, but I'm here for it. Hell yes, I'm on the Swede. That's what's up. That's called bravery. That's true courageousness. Like in the face of you don't even know, you're like, I'm here. I'm in it. It is a good practice to have one file that's 600 lines long. Just asking mod chat. 600 lines of C code is like nothing, my guy. Usually C files are like at least 2,000 lines each, depending on what they do. Some of them are really simple, obviously, but the actual implementation files, the C files, are generally pretty long. We should split this up into headers if that's what you're asking. Like program structure wise, we can split the file IO into its own file. We can do that today if you'd like to see more like program structuring. We can split errors out into their own header and everything. We could split the lexer, but it's so simple we should just keep it a part of the parser, I believe. Headers? Who needs manageable code base? Well, you only need headers if you're actually like planning to release it as a library, like link with it. Technically, C code, you only need implementations if you're only going to use it in one place, right? I agree, once we start doing some more stuff, we're probably going to split all this stuff up. Like environments will go into their own place. Parsing will get its own place. But we've just started working on this program. It's only 600 lines. You know what I mean? As the program grows, of course it'll grow into multiple files. Like if you look at my text editor, it has like, I don't even know, but it has like 15 different files. And they're all split up, I'd say, rather well. Like the rope API is all on its own. The buffer API, based on the rope, is all on its own. I split projects because it just makes things simpler to navigate. You're correct. Makes things easier to find. But again, we just started. All right, I'm getting super distracted. I didn't even have my hands on the keyboard. Kill me. We need to actually, when we context create, so we're going to have a node symbol or integer. This is going to have to be a node, so I'm going to have like make integer. Hands on coffee. Nobody has to get Sigtermade. Is that an emote I don't have? So awesome. Thank you so much, Vimy. I love your positivity. You're so much fun to have around. Different union member. And we return it. All right. All right. So interestingly enough, we're going to have to free the nodes. We may implement like a garbage collection of nodes in the parser. That way we don't grow heap allocation too much. It's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea. We're not doing it now, but that is not a bad idea. So we now would like to create the integer. And this is really just to store the type, like an expected node that this type looks like. What's your problem? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See, why doesn't it just use the nodes directly? Let's go check it out. I want to do something in C, but I don't know what to program. That's a common, we all have that problem, my guy. We're like, I want to program, but I have no idea what program to program. I recommend just like, so what I do is you can watch YouTube or streamers, right? And see what they do and try and get inspired. Like, oh, they did this. I wonder if I can do that. That helps me sometimes. Or that helps me at least get an idea of what to do. A compiler, maybe? Sim on the Suite has the right idea. Maybe make a compiler. No, a compiler is pretty hardcore for your first thing. There's so many things you can do in C. I recommend having a goal. So like, do you want to make a game? Learn SDL, right? Figure out how the event loop works and how you can get text input and like make a box on the screen go left or make a different letter show up on the screen using SDLTTF. Figure out how to link with external libraries if you want to like make games and stuff, and right, you could do that. You can make music in C. You can code, like, you can literally code the math to generate a sine wave in C, right? And then you can generate the float bytes in an array, right? Whatever your sample rate is. And then you have a second of audio, and you can keep saving consecutive seconds of audio. And if you use like a sine wave to populate these floats, well then guess what? You just made a pulse width modulated audio file, and you can play it in pretty much any audio player on any OS because it's a .pcm file. Vimy says to Mr. Mugame, do simple challenge projects. Last one I did was a command line interface urban dictionary definition thing. It was a real nice walk along the memory lane of libcurl and HTML parsing without libraries. Yeah, exactly. That's great advice from Vimy. Because doing little simple projects lets you learn kind of how you do them and how other people have done them, and then you go, oh, okay, that's kind of how coding works. And then you can kind of learn the language just a little bit more. Like 30-minute trash fun, exactly. Like program, if you're interested in the graphics, like I said, program like get a red box on the screen or a red triangle. You can use OpenGL and do stuff on the GPU if you want. It's endless, it's endless. In any case, why are these not pointers? Because the value is just copied into the binding. Where's the binding? And a binding doesn't have pointers, it has literal nodes. Okay. So we are transferring ownership of the data within the node so if we have a symbol as our value, or our ID, right? If we have a symbol as our value, making Beethoven's Fifth in C as your first project is not recommended. I mean, that's not too bad. Vulkan becomes a new big thing and it's cross-platform, so OpenGL gets to the second plan for me. But OpenGL is still a nice learning tool because it's very simple. Yeah, jumping into Vulkan as a first project is definitely not recommended. OpenGL is like the basics of how graphics work on computers. Like, okay, construct triangles using indices into an array, and it's like, it lets you figure out how a state machine, a very complicated state machine would work. And it's also efficient. It lets you draw things to the screen. Like I made a whole 3D rendering pipeline in using OpenGL, and it was very efficient. It was cool. We could have like 10,000 uh, complicated models in the scene at once and get like 300 FPS. It was sweet. If you're a deep ender, you can just dive into Vulkan. I mean, maybe. I don't know if I've ever met anyone that enjoys Vulkan. Okay, so I don't know if I enjoy this kind of memory usage. So we're gonna have a node allocated, and then we pass it, but all of its data will then move here. So if we free this node in the binding, the data would be freed from the one that we have. See, that's not really that clean. I don't like that a lot. So I think I'm going to have this be pointers. And we're effectively going to say bindings hold pointers, so that unless we want to say an environment owns the node, in which case we'd have to make like a node copy. You haven't met a lot of game engine devs, I assume. OpenGL was already enough indices, buffer, vertex, vector, shader shit that I don't want to touch Vulkan really. Because you haven't met a lot of game engine devs, I assume. Yeah, if OpenGL is too complicated, definitely don't jump into Vulkan. Definitely start with OpenGL. And if OpenGL is too complicated, you can use a library like SDL too, which is wonderful. That's what I use for my text editor. And it's a game engine, technically, or a graphical game engine, whatever you want to call it. They call it simple direct multimedia layer or something. It's great. Or did I just remember SFML? I never remember. There's so many. So if bindings own these nodes, then that would mean we create one. And again, we get that same issue. So they are going to be pointers. I know. So now we can use these pointers and just assign them directly. So we own value and we own ID, right? Raylib, never used it, but community has positive things to say about it mostly. I've never heard of Raylib. But yeah, it might be good. VMe says it could be a good idea. Hey, Roger Zanoni with the follow. Thank you so much. The lurker. Not one thing said in chat, but came in with the follow. Thank you so much for coming through. Roger Zanoni. Remember, down below is the Discord link where you can get notifications every time I go live. If you would like that. Lurkman. Pepe. Which Pepe is that? Trash Pepe. Evil Pepe. I see. The hero we deserve. That's right. Lurkers. The hero. The hero we deserve. That's so funny. The hero we don't deserve, but we really need. No, the hero we deserve. We don't really need him, but we do deserve him. I like that. It's so pretentious. So we now have a pointer to a node. And the problem is, in this case, the node, the symbol here, is already in use. So we don't actually need to use this node, it's a copy. That's kind of a problem, right? So is it, I don't think it's insane that we would free the ID. This is kind of terrible, but Eternal Wild Fox, hello, you're back. It's so nice to see you. May I ask what IDE you're using? Chat too. I've just started a course of C# and I'm using Visual Studio for it, but I'm grateful for other tips. I guess it depends on what you're used to, but I haven't gotten used to any IDE yet. I'm on Windows, so I did use Visual Studio at first as well. I used Visual Studio Code, VS Code. And VS Code is fine, it's great, right? There's nothing wrong with it, especially on Windows if you're writing C#. Definitely use Visual Studio or VS Code or something, right? Because C# is kind of a Windows only thing. I know they're changing that with the mono versus .NET, but it's still in the works. As well as you're asking what IDE I'm using. This is not an IDE, I would say. This is Emacs, it's a text editor. Is there like a Where is it? There's got to be something. Is it called news? I don't remember. There's some keybind I always hit on accident that shows what Emacs is. How's it going with the compiler? Great question, Eternal. We'll get right to that. But yeah, Emacs is just a text editor that is actually extensible while it's running. So you can like change the size, and you can set your own key bindings while it's running and change how files are saved. You can do all sorts of things. But I just use it because I never have to take my hands off the keyboard, and I can change the text editor to do whatever I want. Like I can create multiple cursors. I can highlight things and select them and go to the next one. It's so nice. It's a text editor that you can build your own IDE within. And then I also use Egglet, which is a plugin or a package for Emacs is what they're called. And Egglet allows stuff like that you see pop up at the bottom down here. You see token, type alias token, type def struct, token, token. And then I could even use Egglet to, for example, find where that's declared, if it is. Yep. So then we can jump to it and it goes, hey, token is declared right here. So we can jump right to it. So there is some IDE support using ClangD, a language server, and Egglet, a Emacs package, but I would say it's not necessarily an IDE. Eternal Wild Fox says, how's it going with the compiler? Thank you for asking. It's going okay. We are now, we were getting closer. We could parse a variable declaration. If you weren't here at the end of yesterday, I sadly don't remember. So we must have changed something here? No? Okay, so that makes sense. Sure. I don't think this is how this should work. Should this not return an error? Oh yeah, but Eternal Wild Fox, it's going great. We're just still at the basics of parsing. We are setting up environments now so that we can have bindings from like in the types environment, for example. So we'll be able to look up valid types in the types environment, and then we'll also be able to define new types eventually in the types environment, as well as variables. We're going to store variables and their type, if that makes sense, and their value in here, if they're initialized with constant literal values. But I guess we'll also store their values in here if they're expressions. No reason not to. So yeah. I can't believe we have 9 viewers. Thank you everybody for watching. I really appreciate it. We're working on this compiler. Be sure to go to that Discord down below, check it out, and see how goes it. See what happens between the people that are watching. Because you can all talk to each other, and you can talk to me, you can message me, and get notified every time I go live, which is the most important part, because Twitch does not do that, even when you follow. Ooh, perfect segue. Speaking of Twitch follows, Sim on the Swede followed me. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining the mass that is growing. It's not cancerous yet, but it seems to be so. No, we're a benign tumor. We're gonna grow, and I really appreciate you joining. Your cell number 17. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we're gonna infect the whole world. Let's do this. I built myself a browser extension to notify me. That's awesome, Mr. Mugame. That's actually like power user levels. That's pretty sweet. So when we get something from the environment, we don't just want to return none when we don't find anything, I think, because then how would we know if something is actually bound to none? We would have some issues. So we're going to say return 1 here, and result is equal to that. So we're not copying. So the return value and result is still owned by the environment binding, effectively. I think that's where we're going to keep track of it. Because the binding we're going to keep as a linked list in the environment. So I think that, yeah, that'll work. Because then at the end, we're going to have to free all the environments at once, which means we can garbage collect nodes from within environments as well if we are able to mark them. If we do a mark and collect garbage collector, we can always do different ones. Mark and sweep, mark and collect. What is it called? I am talking very fast today. I'm sorry. I drank caffeine. This is my fault. So if I am annoying, feel free to come back any other day. I won't be so annoying. I don't often drink caffeine, so that's why it's like this. I would like to print an environment to kind of understand that what I'm doing works, but drink more water, Eternal Wild Fox says. Thank you. Absolutely. Hydro homies. Hydrate. You hear that? That's my water bottle. I shook it. It's amazing. Hydro homies. But I carry around a 36-ounce water bottle that only ever gets filled with cold water. And I carry that around with me literally everywhere, like same as my phone. My phone's in my pocket, my water bottle's in my hand. And I accidentally take it into places all the time. Like I end up in the store with my water bottle and I'm like, I'm an idiot. I'm getting loaves of bread and fucking vegetables and I'm just holding this giant black water bottle like an idiot. But absolutely. Drinking water it's amazing. Stay hydrated. Hashtag hydro homies. And the Eternal Wild Fox. I don't drink water on the stream a lot because then I'd have to pee all the time. That's the issue. It's an endurance thing. It's like, okay, take a sip of water. I can make it the next 30 minutes. After that, it's fine. I'm getting so off track. I kind of want to print an environment so that I know what I'm doing works, but I also can just get from the environment and print that, can I not? Let's do that. Let's do a testy test. Not a testes test. We're not going to a doctor. So I would like to test that we can get integer type, hopefully. Right? So from this environment, context types, we have a node that we need to create. Also, think about hashing used symbols, not creating duplicates. So if we tried to create a symbol that we have already created, we could just return the symbol itself. I don't think we need a bunch of duplicates like this. But it's fine. It will be fine. Trying to figure out how interaction work in Discord. You can create custom slash commands, but the Discord API is massive. Yeah, Discord is like, it's very cool. It's very configurable, but it's intimidating to try and get into it. Like, ooh, there's a lot of stuff to learn here. So yes, it should be fine. Zero. What symbol would I like to look for? I'd like to look for integer, right? Yes, this is wrong. I almost got it to work, pretty sure. Not bad after 2.5 days. doing anything after 2.5 days, getting it working is pretty poug. Hey, we're compiling again. Wonderful. I don't see, sadly, the integer type, so our code may be broken surrounding environments. So we should see this integer type, hopefully. Oh, I see. I'm surprised that didn't crash. So I did that very bad. See, because we didn't do that. So we were just, so it would have been bad if we had dereferenced this, but we didn't dereference this, so it wasn't bad. Hilarious. Not to mention I wrote custom code from scratch. That's the best feeling, Eternal Wild Fox. It's like, I made this. It's like making a song or something. It's like, it's just this feeling of like, the world is different a little bit now. Hey, another lurker follow. We love these. It's the day of the lurkers. I love it. Thank you so much, everybody. Hostman followed. Thank you so much for the follow, my guy. Welcome to our awesome compiler club. Hostman says hi. First time chat after a follow. Now that's a real lurker move. A first time chat after a follow. I really appreciate that stuff. That's pretty poug, if you ask me. Okay. We're closer. We got a type of none. So this would be failed. Failed to find node and environment. This is all just test code to figure out how this stuff works. Or if it works. Thank you so much for saying hi, Hostman. I really appreciate it. How are you doing? What made you stumble upon this compiler creation stream? It amazes me anybody clicks on it. I didn't know compilers were interesting. If status equals 0, print it out. Okay, so we are failing. We should free it either way, but we should say else. Print the node itself, because we found it. And we probably need one of these. We also don't need one of these. That's probably what was saving us, ironically. All right. Failed to find node within environment. Did I delete that? Whoa, okay. I screwed up a little bit there. And we're back. Problem is you can only send 1,000 ID packages per day, per token. That's why I need that reconnect session ID action. Oh, I missed one chat from Eternal Wild Fox. Also, I need to add in a reconnect still on a session ID. I see. API rate limiting is the worst thing in the world. We ran into that in Pascal when I was writing my, like a week ago, when we on stream were writing the suicidal AI bot that generates suicidal text. When we were gathering training data, we used this API, but we kept getting rate limited, so we had to put a 1-second delay between each request, and it was like, that makes it take 8 minutes versus 30 seconds. It's so terrible. It's like, ugh, fine. Fine. Whoa. I just said a lot, so I don't know what you're making eyes at. Probably the suicidal bot stuff, if you weren't here for that. I don't remember. That was fun. You can check out the VODs either on the YouTube or I think they're still on Twitch. It was recent enough. So we allocate this node and we never actually free it. This is just a test, but it is a truth. we're gonna say lookup symbol. Sure. I don't think we should free the ID. Maybe we should just return a different value. At return 0 upon creation of new binding, 1 upon, I'm going to write these as numbers, 1 upon value overwrite, ID unused. That's good enough for me. That covers that. So now, seeing you writing this code makes me want to start the Chip 8 project. Hell yeah, my guy. I'd be excited to see it. It sounds sweet. Honestly, it would be awesome if we could compile code for your Chip 8 project. If the assembler you write works out, right? I could just write a backend that generates code for your assembler, right? 8-bit. I mean, there'd be some limitations because it's 8-bit, I'm assuming. Or if it's not 8-bit, it'd be fine. Yes, that would be fun. Hells yeah. We can try. No one's gonna stop us. So this creates a new symbol integer and stores it in the environment with a new integer node 0 as its value. So we should get int 0 as our result. And we say failed to find node within environment. Okay, so when we say environment set, I don't think we have to handle it here. Let's just printf the status. But I believe, yeah, see, status is 0. So we're creating a new binding. I don't think we have to worry about that. When I create an environment, I should probably say see, I do set bind to null and parent to parent. Alrighty. So when we set within an environment, I guess we are going to need to do this. Because we need to set bind in the actual environment underlying, not the stack variable, not the stack variable for the function. Hi, have a good stream. First time chat from Aero Barrere 2. Thank you. I will have a good stream. We've been having a lot of fun today. We're working on this compiler. How are you doing, Aero Barrere 2? What makes you stumble upon this compiling stream? Or stream that's programming a compiler? Eternal Wild Fox. Hell yeah, I am getting the data for interactions. Woohoo! Hells yeah. Aero Barrere says thanks a lot. Of course. When positivity is spread, there's no reason not to continue it on, right? All right, this is going so well. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Remember that there's the link down below to the Discord. You can actually be notified every time I go live and make friends with everybody that's already here. We have a lot of fun. You can message me. Hey, look. Be me. Daddy's home. That's wonderful. Be me. You're awesome. He spread so much positivity. But yeah, we have fun in the Discord. We have a lot of fun, and I recommend joining a lot. You'll get notifications whenever I go live. Let's do it. I think I may change this so that 0 is a failure, or we just could return an error, right? But we'd have to have like a value for the error, so that, yeah, that won't work. Thanks a lot. I don't know Clang a lot, but I like your theme and font. Thank you. This is Emacs. I don't even remember what font I'm using because I have it check for like 5 different ones because I use the configuration on my my other machines that I use in my life. But yeah, I don't use Clang a lot either. I don't think I've ever used Clang myself. The most I've used it is downloading LLVM so I can get ClangD. It looks like Fyra code. It probably is. That sounds familiar. Here, I think we can check. Yeah, it's probably Fyra code nerd font. If not, it could be JetBrains Mono, Deja Vu, Sans Mono. It's definitely not Courtier New. It's one of these nerd fonts. But thank you, I really appreciate that you like the setup. I like it as well. I wrote this theme myself, these colors. I wrote it in Emacs Lisp. So upon failure, we really got to return something. So this is going to be 1, this is going to be 2. 0 upon failure. Here, this would actually be easier with retval, I think. Retval 0, failure. Here, and we're just going to do one of these. Yes. Creation of new binding. It looks like Fyra code. I think my stream may have just dipped in and out. My Twitch chat thing now says welcome to the chat room, like it refreshed. Or it's just a bug, I don't know. Hopefully everything is fine. We're doing good. We just wrote some documentation so we don't forget what the hell this does. So this should be 1, right? Nope, that should be 2, I was right, and that should be 1. Nope, still wrong. There we go. Twitch does that sometimes. I see. Thank you, Eternal Wild Fox. I wonder why. May just, I wonder if they're changing CDNs or something. So they have to refresh. So now, within the environment, we set the value do something like this and say if status equals 0. We kind of just, this is a big failure, right? We don't want to return null, I don't think, but this is, we're just going to say failed to set type in environment or something. So if anybody sees this, it's a big warning sign. It should be like error, right? I am back in black, my dudes. VMe is back. Daddy is home. How's it going, VMe? How's your what were you working on? Your callbacks, right? You were linking to libcurl or something. Mistakes were made, failures were achieved. That's a good way to look at it. Failures were achieved. Mission failed successfully. I nuked all the callbacks. Oh no. My guy. This is kind of a terrible way to do this. Do I need status separate? I don't really need status separate. Okay. Nuke 'em. Oh, yeah. With the amazing emote. Here, let's see if we can get that in. Look at that emote. That is fantastic. Beautiful stuff. Vimy, you're so awesome. Thank you so much for showing up. So much positivity you bring while we're just coding away our little compiler, chipping away at our block of marble. You drop in and make us laugh. I really appreciate it. Also, this needs a new line. So we have failed to find node. So we set the node symbol integer. And then that's also what we look for, node symbol integer. Okay. No, you are breathtaking, Vimy. You're so sweet. So status equals 0 from environment get, which means we get here. So let's look at node compare, make sure that symbols are handled. Ah, see? So why is this not working? Chat, does anybody know C? Why is this not working? This assert 7 does not equal 3. What the fuck? We link, okay, so we have assert, we include it. And we assert that this enum, okay, chat, we're looking this up. This is happening. Okay, I forget, I gotta bring you with me. So, what is happening? Assert enum integer value. C. No. So, enum integer. Let's pray to the gods of Stack Overflow. Hey, look, Stack Overflow. How much can I rely on the fact that state size equals 7? Right, that's how the C standard defines enumerations. We get it. What is that code? Is that, this is like cursed Pascal, but not even Pascal. This is like a stack. I don't even know what this is. Look at this, is in the form of Christ. What is the rule of assignment of the integer value of enum? So we know that it just gets the value of the previous 1 plus 1. So can I just printf like the bool? Let's just do a decimal node type. Does it equal 3? We should see 0, right? So we see 0. So when asserting 0, our program does not fail. What the fuck? What? Is this not an integer? It's just not asserting. I don't get how this works at all. Postman says, I enjoy C and low-level programming in general. That's why I clicked on your stream. That's awesome, thank you. I enjoy low-level programming a lot. Aerobarere 2 asks, how long have you been programming? Someone asked that earlier today, but that is okay. You were not here, I'm sure. How long have you been programming? I've been programming hardcore. I've been hardcore programming for 8 months. Like every day I've been programming for the last 8 months, I'd say. But programming in general, probably like 8 years. But I'm only 19, so like a lot of that is making games in Unity as a teenager and stuff. Calculators. Welcome to our crazy bus of C C C C C C C. Yeah, buddy. All we do is that cocainum, right? In our Red Bull. Is that what it's called? The caffeinum? Cafe cocainum? What is it nowadays? In any case, I have wings, so let's do this. We're not comparing. I still don't. Why does this not work, man? I really wish I knew why this didn't work. I gotta prove to myself, like, what's going on? We see there. Okay, so, chat, what is going on? Assert is meant to take a condition and fail if it is not, and if it is 0, it should fail. This condition obviously evaluates to 0. It prints 0, and in an if, it doesn't evaluate to true, it evaluates to false, and we follow the else and print there. And then this assert just doesn't work. What is going on? So I guess I'll just add a to-do. This assert doesn't work. I don't know why. Sad face. Cocainum brings back memories of red heat. No, weren't you drinking that, like, what was it called? Bolt? From the 80s? It was like, it was like a neon green can. That's the shit you only ever see in the movies nowadays. So we need to do symbol, vardecal, and vardecal initialized at least. Okay, so we're gonna do a symbol comparison, which basically we should just check. Am I an idiot? No, I'm not. So this checks whether they're the same. So we need to do string compare on the two symbols, because they're just strings. And if it's 0, they will match. People forgot how cool and unhealthy looks. Smoothie Society. Pepega? What is that? Cringe Pepe. That's awesome. Yeah, being unhealthy is like the dopest, right? Is that what you're saying? Thank you so much, everybody, for watching today. Make sure to check out that Discord down below if you enjoy. We have friends. We can talk. You can message me, get notified whenever I go live, all sorts of stuff like that. Sorry, my chair is being super loud right now. Hey, my phone died. All right, so we need to compare the symbol, but first we need to make sure that they are not null. If a symbol so if A exists and B exists, then we should do this. Christ, right? That's a little horrible. Okay, there we go. We have made a lot of progress this stream. It's only been an hour and a half, but man, we're actually beginning to fill out some of our functionality. So if one is a symbol, but the other one isn't, then that means that we should return 0. Not if one of them isn't a symbol. They have to both be symbols at this point. But we're just checking that their symbols are non-null. So if A has a non-null value, and B does as well, okay, this is getting kind of terrible. So let's just remove some of this stuff. So if A and B both have non-null values, and they match, do this. Else, so if A and B, so then I just have to say if A and not, so if not A and not B, if they're both null, well, 2 null symbols would be equal. So let's think about this. We send in A as null and B as ABC. A being null, if a value symbol, this fails. Else, if not a value, that's true, but this fails. So we would get here. It's not terrible, it's subgood, ungood, depretified. That's right. It's not terrible, it's just suboptimal. You gotta use the words you use when you're talking to your manager. Like, there was an incident today, and results of my labor may be suboptimal due to my incoherency and arrival later than usual. It's like when you're just making an excuse to your boss. Like, it's not terrible. It's just not, it's not the best. How's everybody doing? I'm doing great. I'm having a lot of fun. So this should compare symbols. If they both are non-null and they're matching strings, hey, they match. Otherwise, they don't match if they're both non-null and unmatching strings. So that's a no bueno. Else, if they are both null, well, hey, those are matching strings. And if they are not both null, at this point, that means that one of them has to be null. So we can return not matching, because null matched with an actual string will never match. Why our infrastructure is down? It's not down, it's just not fully up. Those panic emails, you're like, save my job, don't get fired, fuck. Why our infrastructure is down? Well, it's not necessarily down, it's just that people can't access it. It's like, that's what that means, bud. You're just trying to do damage control. So this is still a to-do. Sure. I don't think we're ever going to need to compare variable declarations, but we may. Okay, so this is initialized. Servers aren't down, they just lack power running through them. It's the power company's fault, I swear. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We now have 7 types. Hey! Oh, that's actually Baug. That is actually very awesome. So now, when we create our parsing context, right? You can see here that we allocate the parsing context, and then we create the environments. And in the types environment, we set the node, the symbol, integer, to an integer with a value of 0. Let's change that to a value of 69, just to have a little bit of fun. And we actually then, with this parsing context, where we create it from, somewhere down here in main, we look up this integer symbol, the node, into this node that we allocate, and we then print it out. So when we do that, we actually get the node that we set earlier in the environment. The code is working, just not right now. The code actually is working right now. Funnily enough, we're in one of those weird areas, those weird times where the code actually is working. It's not like a compiler yet, but it is half of a compiler. Like, this is much further than I've made it in the past on some projects. I start a compiler, then go, ooh, that was too much work. Nope. This is good. So we actually get this value that we set here, and we can set it to anything. So this means that when we encounter, when we're looking for types, we can now look up if it exists as a bound symbol in the types environment. And then if it does that, so if we have a bound symbol in the types environment, then that means it is a valid type. Wonderful. I think that's actually, this will work. I'm a little surprised. I'm like, wait, this will work? What? The code fails successfully. Try, code goes here, catch, exit with exit code 0 anyway. That honestly is a good tactic in C. Because if you have main and you exit 0 right away, if this program doesn't run, it's not your fault, right? It may be linking or something. But if this program doesn't run, it's not really your fault. So having this exit 0 and moving it around is actually how I debug some things sometimes. Like, okay, what if we exit here? Do we make it here? Like, you'll see me do that to see how far the control flow of the program reaches before the program crashes or something. But I only do that if like printf debugging isn't working, because printf is much easier to use. And I'm lazy. I don't want to break out GDB and like make a breakpoint where I think the problem might be. It's like, that's not really efficient. I need to find where the problem is, broad strokes, first. I really like the idea of just putting your entire like main function, putting it in a try. Just try all of this. And then perfect. Finally, return 0. Easy. Easy, easy. Program memory safety never fails. It's perfect. I'm an idiot. What's going on? I think I added an extra. Yeah, matches try. Debugger? What a ridiculous thing. I debug my code with print statements. I mean, it's true. That is how I do it. That's how I know this is working now. Our environments. Just with this little test. It'd be nice if there was a little bit of an easier. So this is probably just going to help us in the future. We're going to create a bit of an overload on environment get. Want to feel the pain? I always want to feel the pain. I don't even know what that means. Where are unit tests for your project? I don't really like unit tests. I like end-to-end tests. So once we have both ends up and running, we'll get some tests. We'll probably write it in like Pascal too. We'll have some fun. Maybe we could write it in like Ada or Cobble, learn something new together. So I can just do this. Algol. That'd be crazy. We should write our end-to-end tests in Algol. That's a great idea, my guy. That will help us so much in the long run. So we can now just get a string as a symbol into a result. And this actually works. So we are now defining types with expected nodes, I guess. So when we find this symbol within the source code, where do we find this? Okay, pretty easy source code. Algol end-to-end tests for compiler written in C. Okay, guys, I've seen enough in this life. Kappa, kappa, kappa. You haven't seen nothing yet. We're just getting started. Algol end-to-end tests for a compiler written in C. I do really like that. We're gonna add that to the to-do. Right? End-to-end tests in Algol. First, I guess we have to learn Algol. Perfect. Okay, so this is our source code. It's very complicated. I mean, I don't expect you to understand it. But we basically have a symbol, an operator, which is really just a symbol, another symbol, a symbol, which is an operator. Success achieved. Yes. We have succeeded in life. Once done, life is complete. Feel free to end it. Perfect. We'll just that's our end goal of our life. We're gonna write end-to-end tests in Algol for a compiler written in C from scratch. Then we can just end our life. You know, I've completed it. I've succeeded. I've achieved all success. Oh, I'm such a bad person. So we split it up into a program which has a variable declaration within it, right? And that is an integer, hopefully with 69, because this should be initialized. Oops. And then it should have another child of a symbol with A. Okay. So when we are parsing, we're going to encounter an unknown symbol. That sounds logical. For when we encounter an unknown symbol, I think we have that in parse expression. So we lex a token. So each of these arrows refers to a separate token. We lex a token, which is really just a string span. We may want to like have the lexer let us know if they're like have a basic type, but I don't know if that's worth it. The parser can decide that stuff. So if we parse an integer, we have to do integer things. Otherwise, check for unary prefix operators, that's correct. So if we had like -69, right, that would be a unary prefix operator. So still have to do that. Check that it isn't a binary operator. We should encounter left side first and peek forward rather than encounter it at top level. Yeah. So our operator, so for example, when we're parsing, a binary operator, I guess like this. So let's think, a binary operator, let's just do the simple one, like an addition. We never want to encounter a binary operator by itself at the top level, because we should break it into tokens and encounter the actual type that it operates on first. So plus will be like binary operator plus, right? Probably have a symbol. And then it will have children of integer, which tells the compiler that both sides of the operator, also this is a binary infix operator. In either case, our operator can use these types, these children, to type check both sides. And what we'll do when we encounter a type that we've encountered before, for example, then we will look ahead for any operators that contain a left-hand side of the type that we just encountered, for example, an integer. So we would look through this list of nodes and go, hey, we found one with a left-hand side of integer. It's plus. Is that what's next? And then we'll try and match what's next. And if it's not matching, we can have a type error and say, a type mismatch error, and say, hey, this operator that you put doesn't actually match this thing. So if we encountered plus 2, this would be an error because, I mean, it doesn't have to be if this is a unary operator, but if it's a binary infix operator like this, then this would be an error. I'll just leave that stuff. I mean, I can't actually because I need to compile this, and I don't have comments yet in this language. Ooh, that's a good to-do. That's an important to-do. Just gonna add that somewhere, I don't know. Top level stuff, miscellaneous. Kind of urgent. Why not? Lex past comments or something. That's good enough for me. Okay, so all of these seem logical. So now we encounter this symbol. See, this is done in an old way. We now have a new API. Node symbol from buffer, sure. So we have to create a new API, buffer length equals 0 or null, right? Well, no, we'll just create an empty symbol. So basically all that work we had down there. this stuff. We're gonna steal. Go back to where we were. And think about how we can do this. We can copy from our given buffer length bytes into our allocated string. Could not allocate memory for symbol string. That's valid. Okay, so now we have token length doesn't exist. So we create a symbol string. Here, shouldn't we be able to then use node symbol itself with the symbol string? And we can free our allocated symbol string. So this malloc right here gets freed right here. The symbol gets duped and now owns its own version of that string. I mean, I guess we could do this ourselves without node symbol. It's really not that important. All it does is set types. So we could do node pointer symbol equals node allocate. This will just kind of help repeating ourselves a little bit, because we don't need to copy an entire string when we just have it. And now imagine how much easier that would be with smart pointers. Yeah, it could be. Honestly, in C++, I'm not a smart pointer guy. I know that's like why people use C++, but I like using new and delete explicitly, much like malloc and free. But it does let you do some very cool things, like not worry about anything, right? Okay, so we create a string. We copy from the buffer. We're going to assert the buffer. Hopefully assert works here. And say cannot, because we refuse to, cannot create symbol node from empty buffer, from null buffer. Yeah, that's better. So if this is 0, we'll malloc 1 byte. We'll memcopy 0. Hopefully that's fine. Then at 0, we'll place the null terminator. That's an empty string right there. We'll create the symbol. We'll set its type. And then we should probably do this stuff. Well, we don't have to, actually, because we use node allocate, right? Shouldn't node allocate handle all that? Question mark? Yeah, it sets it all to 0. So now all we have to worry about is setting our proper values. Look at us. What's this problem? Multiple definition of symbol. Oh Christ, I only use that word everywhere. Ah. Why do I do that? What is this from? Why do I set result here? This doesn't make any sense. Why is that there? I don't know. Hey, we're back. We're running. What's our warning? Passing argument from incompatible pointer type. You're correct. this. Now node add child, just to remind myself. New child is copied shallowly. Yeah, I don't necessarily like that at all. Because that would mean we have to free this node. So here's what we're going to do. I would like to be able to add a child with children, like existing children, as a child to another one without reallocating everything. Isn't that what this would do? It's also what this would do, though. Which would kind of make it more clear that it's not being used. Let's think about this. So when we add a child, did you look into forcoder? I don't think so. Let me check. Nice. This looks pretty cool. Interesting. So they basically made Emacs, but with executables instead of a Lisp runtime. Holy crap. Okay. Buffer save. I'm interested in that. Holy crap. Yeah, this is a whole text editor. This is cool. I'll have to try it out. Is it possible to, don't like that it's HTTP, but it's fine. Interesting. Crazy. That's interesting just right there. Programmable buffer layout. I don't even know what that means. He just says it over and over. Like, what does that actually mean? Is it in C and C++? So you program like features into a buff? I don't even know. This looks very cool. Not too bad. Looks pretty standard. I'll have to try this out for sure. Thank you for reminding me about that, Vimy. That's very cool. Keep that open just in case. So in this case, so I have a node. I know everything is going to break. And it's a variable declaration, right? We already have, hopefully, the symbol. So this symbol, I think that'll work. Okay, so I think we actually need to just call free on these once they're used. Does this make sense? Sure, whatever. Create nodes set. Eventually we'll set the type from the binding we get from the environment, which we're kind of working two ways at this problem. Now we're coming at it from the other side. So when we add this type node, I want this node, like this pointer, to actually be used as the child. Because I don't want to free it here. I want to free it when the variable declaration is freed. So we don't need to allocate a child. And I think we can just say something like this. That's much better. I think that's more concise. New child pointer is used verbatim. Hells yeah, we're making progress on this compiler. Look at us. We have basic environments working, like with lookup. We have, excuse me, we have basic parsing of variable declarations. This is starting to come together, baby. I'm excited. This gets me excited. Also, this doesn't return symbol. Bit of a, hey, look. That's a problem. That's a very interesting problem. I don't even know how we did that. So we print node over and over? After what did I change? Node symbol from buffer. So maybe this result is important to not looping infinitely? Nope, still looping infinitely. That's an interesting one. It's cool to see how fast the parser runs. We've been streaming for 2 hours today. We've made so much progress. We've had multiple followers. I'm so happy. It's been a great day. This morning has been amazing. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Check if valid symbol for variable, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that's what we're doing. So maybe I screwed up add child beyond repair. So I'd like to set the children pointer if it's not already. Pretty simple. Then I'd like to set next child of the last child to the given child. Okay, that seems pretty valid. Unless, I don't know what the issue is. Why do... So what, we're going to use the trick. We're just going to exit 0 right after. It works. So if we print this node, does it break things? We print this node. Things are very broken. I think it's windy outside. Let me just open my blinds a little bit, make sure I'm not getting broken into. I don't know what people would want in here. It's a shitty place, but... yeah, it's just windy as fuck. There's nobody like banging on the side of the house or trying to break a window. Hopefully you guys heard that and I'm not just insane. Y'all know how it is. Okay, so we're obviously screwing up add child. Ooh, I'm an idiot. I'm shadowing. How is this not see? Why do you allow this? God damn it. So we're actually having like dynamic scoping issues, so we are binding child to parent children, but so this does still have to be called new child. Yeah. Okay. Hey, look. It doesn't break. Hey, it works. Hooray. This is awesome. And we free the program at the end, so everything should be neatly garbage collected. We'll have to run it in Valgrind or something. So sorry, I always forget to put you guys back into Emacs view. So I don't think we need this testing anymore, although it was helpful. Very cool. All right, let's make further progress if we can. So ideally, I'm going to have a node. Can't I just use result? Right? And I would like to get from an environment the types environment, for example. And I would like to get by the symbol do I have a string? I just have a string span. Is that true? So I lex into the current token and check for integer, but we want to check for any valid type. And this just gets the current token string equal p. Okay, we should probably just make token string that returns an actual heap allocated string of the token to be used by the parser. I think that doesn't sound too insane. Thank you everybody so much for watching today. I really appreciate it. And thank you for staying tuned while we are making progress on our compiler. And while I am cocainemed out. Caffeinum? Cocainum? What is it? We're just gonna have to get, probably by node symbol from buffer. I don't think that's too insane. We expect a type symbol. So we can actually just return an error. And we're just gonna say type within assignment is invalid. Does that make any sense? What does that even mean? Invalid type within variable declaration. Sure. To do. Add location. So that's really an error to do. Add location. Add file path, line count, byte offset, etc. Because with the byte offset, we can probably just calculate the line number and not really have to worry about that. All right. Okay. This is working. We're getting something up and running. Pretty soon we should probably, I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself, but pretty soon we should probably start code genning. I really wish these asserts worked at all. But yeah, code gen would be probably very near on the next step, because now that we have environments hopefully working. I didn't test them extensively, obviously. This should be a good sign, and we should be able to start making some good progress here. Expected type symbol. Okay, always. Hey, that's actually, that's kind of Paug. It's probably going to help when type checking. I'm going to need that, so I'll just leave that there. So all we need to set on the type node is the type, which should be gotten into result. In which case we then add these as children to this var decal, and then set result to the var decal. So this actual pointer we need to free. So the node contents transfer ownership var decal is now hollow shell. Hopefully that helps me in the future. Remember why I'm using free here and not node free. And now add child, this pointer is used verbatim. So these will be freed when the var decal is, because they are now children. Well, it still runs. That's a good sign. So now, let's just test, right? Because this may still be doing things. What's your problem? Oh, semicolons. You think I would know that by now. Hey, and yeah, it works. So we now use our new API to allocate our nodes, add them as children, etc. And we now use an environment, our types environment from our parsing context, like this to-do message says. Hey, oh, whoa, wow, ha. I'm an idiot. But hey, we did it. That to-do message is now done. We did that done to day. Money me. Good now. I'm such an idiot. Oh, and we're losing viewers. I gotta stop rambling. All right, so that's pretty bog. We can now get types from our types environment and return a type error when we use an invalid type. So let's try and create an error. Like if we wrote int instead of integer. Hey, haha. Oh, Paug. Mismatched types. Invalid type with invariable declaration. Look at this. We have a compiler error about mismatched types. I feel like just yesterday we had a baby Lexer and that's it. Look at our parser coming along. This is incredible. We're getting a type checking. So cool. It doesn't help you at all. That's a terrible, terrible error message and we're gonna work on it. But it's at least an error message that says something. It says somewhere in some variable declaration in what you gave me, there's a problem. So do we actually have current token? So current token actually refers to the mismatched type, the invalid type. So can we just print something like this? Is that insane? I should really have like print node type and print node value separated. Hey, that worked. It's not a good error, once again, but it is an error. And we now say invalid type, error. I wonder what happens if we don't put this new line. That looks much better. We should put like the new line here for it to look right, right? Yeah, that'll separate it. So now, invalid type, a symbol integer. We should probably just print integer, but hey, we're not perfect people. What if we just did something like that? And then pointed. That's much better. Does that work? That works. Look at us. Okay, so our compiler is now smart enough to tell you, hey, you put in these wrong characters. That's not a type. It's invalid. Let's put that in quotes. Invalid type, int. Mismatched types. Invalid type with invariable declaration. So this tells you not exactly where it is, but what it is you did wrong. Very well, I think. It says, hey, there's types. There's an invalid type, and it's within a variable declaration. I think that's pretty good. Again, I don't know if we should leave type checking for... I mean, this isn't type checking. I'm an idiot. This is just validating that the type actually exists. It's not checking that types are compatible. So the actual error message, mismatched types, is kind of incorrect, but it's fine. Everything is fine. Just took a moment of silence. Get myself back in it. We've made some great progress. Let's do some Git committee. Does everybody like Git committee? You know, do a little committee, a little pushy. Okay. Let's see. That's fine. To-do message, add file path, byte offset, etc. Node allocate. Fix node add child. Let's see, what do we do here? We say that this assert doesn't work. That's right. We add in the new cases that the assert should have safeguarded us from, but it's not. Now, let's see. What do we do? Node integer, node symbol from buffer. So these are like helpers to create new nodes. I think that's fine. ID and value. Environment set. Got its return value and stuff overridden, and now takes in a pointer because it has to modify the actual environment. And that's actually where that came into play. What else do we have? So much. So we environment get now takes in a result instead of returning the result. I think that's much better because this can now just point to the node within the environment. You don't really have to worry about it. And environment get by symbol. I think that's valid. All right. This is just going to be a mess of a commit, by the way. I don't really care about this project having neat commits at the start. I'm sure eventually we'll be able to like work on the parser, work on the lex, but right now we're just having to get so much set up that it wouldn't make sense to make a bunch of different commits just to split it up, even though we did it all at once. So we can create parsing contexts now, very basic ones. Yes. So we no longer stack allocate, but we heap allocate, and we have some nice helpers to help with that. And same thing here. We fixed add child, so that changed as well. And now we look up types in our types environment. Git commit -m, I'm sorry. Yes. Okay, so now empty line, why not? Get rid of it. And use the parsing context and add the parsed expression to a program and continue. That's wonderful. We did it. So all the changes we made look to be worth it. And we're just going to say progress made on the 4th of August. Progress made on stream on the 4th of August. Sure. Node allocation overhaul. What else do we have? Let's see, we have node creation helpers for integers, symbols. Whatthecommit.com. I don't know what that is. I'm scared to click on it. Test environment code. It actually works now. Yes. What else did we do? Environment get. Parser now has a parsing context structure to keep track of the program it is parsing over multiple calls, multiple expressions. Sure. Alrighty. Parser now uses new node allocation API and creation helpers. Yes. Types within variable declarations are looked up within the types environment found within the parsing context. Here, I'm going to click on this link. Let's see how bad it goes. It went very, very well. Hopefully I'm not running like a script or something. Nice, it's just an index page. That's pretty good. It's just a file server. I get worried when I see HTTPS in use in 2022. I'm like, this has to be intentional. F5 it. Feed you stuff. No time. This is awesome. Did you make this? This is awesome. Copy and paste is not a design pattern. That's good. Remove the 2 GB hprof file from Git history. Where did you get these? These are so great. Ooh, Morally, I don't even know how to say that. Moralilu. Moralilu. First time chat from them. How's it going, Moral? It's great to see you. No, but it's a nice place to read through crazy commit messages. You are right. Out for vacation. Don't you dare to call me. Fixed bio. That might be one of the best ones. There's going to be a force rebase right after this, I bet. To those I leave behind, good luck. Lamau. This is awesome. Thank you for showing me that. Whatthecommit.com. That's very cool. Okay. Whoops, I did not mean to refresh get status. So types within variable declaration are looked up within the types environment found within parsing context. Cool. So now people should be able to eventually define new types once we allow that syntax. And that's about it. That's what we did in today's stream so far. That's actually a lot. We did quite a bit. We got everything working together. Whoops, that's the wrong key. Control C, Control C. All right, so now we have that commit, and we can push it. And now hopefully we go to here, here, here. Look, we did it. Commit, all pushed. Wonderful. So our open source code is officially open source. We are up to date, and we have to think about what to do next. Mora Lailu asks, what language will this compile? Great question. Currently, it will just compile this example language is what we came up with. It's kind of common. It's nothing major in the syntax, right? Thank you for that great question, Moralilu. But yeah, there's no name for this language. We just kind of came up with the syntax and are running with it. But eventually we plan for like C interop and everything. So we'll see how we do. We'll see how we do. How's everybody going? How are you? I would like to thank everybody for watching and staying tuned. Probably got a good look at that source code now. I'd like to thank everybody for watching and point you to the Discord down below. You can actually get notifications every time I go live, much more, I would say efficiently, but much more consistently than Twitch gives them out just for a follow. I also appreciate, oh, speaking of follows, Lego Brainiac followed me just now. Thank you so much, Lego Brainiac, for joining the club. You are now part of the Compiler Club. Welcome. But yeah, we just came up with that syntax, the language syntax, the other day. You can actually watch the VOD still, and it's up on my YouTube. But we just came up with the syntax, so variable declarations will kind of force a type name in between this assignment operator. So reassignment will be done with this, and declarations will be done like this. So you just put the type name in the middle. Which I thought was a nice little syntax. Because I feel like it combines the power of the assignment operator, which is that Boolean comparisons can use equals, right? Because this is a mathematical symbol. Equals is like a thing already outside of computing. So I kind of like to respect it. Whereas assignment is definitely a computing thing. This operator, you don't really see. You do see it in mathematical papers, but it means assignment. So this keeps the mathematical notation equivalent to the programming language notation, which honestly helps me a lot. Instead of having to deal with like equals equals and in Java, equals equals equals. It's like, this is getting ridiculous. Let's just keep with the math, right? Anyways, thank you everybody so much for tuning in. We are making progress on this compiler, and you can see that we can I would say compile, but we can parse this little program here into this little AST. So you can see that this file gets parsed here, but this file has a variable declaration of the symbol A, and it is an integer, so we actually get this integer node type here. That's great. And then it is not a variable declaration initialized, so we don't actually store the expression that will... Surprising it's not a Forth or Lisp. Cool that it's its own language. Thank you. It's ironic that you say that. In the past 8 months, I've written both a Forth-based language and a Lisp-based language. So you are spot on with that's usually what people start with. But if you want to check it out, the GitHub down below, well, you can check out my text editor. It's called Light, and that actually has its own built-in Lisp runtime, which is so much fun to program in. I love the dynamic feeling of just being able to redefine things while you're like low-level workings of the language. You can just redefine them. I love Lisp for that. And Forth, I actually made something called Corth, which is based on a language called Porth, which is based on Forth. And it's effectively a stack-based programming language that compiles to x86-64 assembly. But that's in my GitHub if you want to check that out. Oh yeah, Soding's Forth. Exactly. I took Soding's Porth, and I was like, hey, I want to write that not in Python, but in C. Because he called it Porth because he wrote Forth in Python. And I was like, I want to write Forth, but in C. And then C++. And I did that. It's not a good project. I used it to learn C++, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't actually know C++ well at all. All I've done is like made shitty calculators before then when I was 12. I didn't actually understand like linking or anything. I didn't understand anything that I do now. But after that, that catapulted me into making an OS. Eternal Wildfox is back. Hello. Moralilu says, I'm trying to make cursed JSON languages, but I'm realizing I should learn how to make a real language first. You're true. Eternal Wildfox says, I needed a little break. That's fair. We've been going hard today. Plus, the stream's almost over, so you came back at the right time. We're all chilling out together until the, probably just until the 3-hour mark, right? If you want to keep watching, we have made progress on this compiler for the past like 4 days, so there are VODs available of the progress. And I upload every VOD to YouTube as well, so you can check out all my past streams there, if you would like. Okay. So you're trying to make cursed JSON languages? What does that mean? So are you writing the language source code within JSON? Like, would your source file be a JSON object and stuff? Or like an array of expressions, like A is mapped to 2, and then say like plus is mapped to A AB? Like, are you saying like this kind of cursed? I don't even know what a JSON language is, or cursed JSON language. Is it like this? I know these should each be objects. Don't at me. My syntax is not great. Okay, he printed a lambda in chat, so I'm gonna take a look at this. So we have a lambda with what? A body, right? Arguments. So this is sort of like an identity lambda, question mark? Why is print 1, 3, 2? I don't know what the numbers are. That just print 2. So you create a lambda which takes in x and then prints x. Sorry, it's print 1, 2, 3. Okay, that makes much more sense. I was like, how does this just print 2? What are these numbers? So printing 1, 2, 3, that makes sense. So you have like a variable amount of arguments. This is very cursed. This is basically just Lisp though. You could probably implement this in Lisp, honestly, right? Because all you'd have to do is like take this and like you could treat these as Lisp macros, right? And you could create Lisp expressions to evaluate. That would be sweet. I'm gonna check my phone, make sure I'm not running late. Sorry, just one moment. I'm really struggling with macros, and also Go feels like a bad choice for writing a language. There's a lot of, I don't think there's a bad choice for writing a language. It's just how much you understand and can get done in it. So is everybody okay with doing a little bit of a deviation from the compiler and helping Moralilu understand Lisp macros? Because I'm down to do that. If you check out my text editor, there's an entire section on macros. So here, let's see if we can't find it. On my GitHub, if you go there, you'll see this light. This is my text editor. And if you go here and scroll down, you'll see actually Light Lisp is the language, the Lisp language that my text editor. I get macros, I just can't implement them. Okay, I see. So to help you with that, I don't know how you implemented macros necessarily, but I implemented them in Lisp. So macros have like, ooh, VMe has an idea. We should be scared. But you can see that macros are actually built into the language, and they effectively, I forgot, I wrote quasi-quoting in Lisp, not macros themselves. So if we look at how it's evaluated, the Lisp is evaluated. Editor extensible by Python. I mean, that's doable, my guy. That's really easy, because you can, also, I think ClangD is hanging. I gotta end it. Yep, there we go. So VMe says editor extensible by Python. That's absolutely doable because you can write, but not written in Python. Yeah, you can write it in C. So from C, you can actually call Python using like C Python bindings. And you can also call, so you can call Python in C and interpret it. And with it, I think you can even just link to Python and embed a REPL. Copy vim. cpyvim. Hey, if you want to write it, go for it, my guy. So, effectively, Moralilu, I know I'm getting off track here, but in macros, we effectively look for the macro special form, right? So we just look for the word macro at the beginning here. And then we just parse. So we get the name, the docstring. We create a macro. And here's the confusing part, right? So we end up in the environment with some symbol, like macro name here, bound, here's the confusing part, to a macro. But the macro itself, how it works is, if we take a look, the macro is just a closure, right? It's a closure with specific arguments that we were given. That writing a text editor extensible in Python and C, that actually sounds really cool. Oh, but we create a macro and we basically just say, hey, in the environment, set the name we were given, the macro name, to the value of the macro. But macro isn't actually a macro. Isn't that confusing? See, we have the macro type of macro. So this Adam's type is macro, but it is actually a value of a closure, if that helps at all. So then to apply it, you just treat it exactly the same as you do a closure. So if we take a look at macro above, so eventually the macro, after it's evaluated, its result is treated as the expression to evaluate. Then you pop the, we pop the stack for the macro. But then we return and continue parsing. So effectively, the macro, all it does is set the expression to what it gets evaluated to, which is similar to how like if works, where the expression gets updated. Where's if? See how expression gets updated to either one thing, the then or the else branch, the then or otherwise or whatever. So the macro works the same way, where it just replaces the expression with the result of the macro. That's kind of what I was doing with less lambdas, but the closures are smarter. Yeah, so trying to implement lambdas on a low level, like within a language of an interpreter, kind of sucks. I'm not going to lie. But to actually apply the macro, let's see where we end up doing that. So in evaluate return arguments, return value, there it is. So this gets called to try and evaluate the actual value that we need. We try and fill result when we need to. And you see that basically if there's a body within the stack that we are currently within, the stack frame, so if the closure has a body, which it does, then we apply it. And that basically is its whole own set of things where you create a new nested environment, apply the arguments into there. But then you can see there's some special macro handling, I believe, in apply. If we take a look at bind arguments, maybe somewhere. It's somewhere in here. I feel like everything is a hack. My lambdas are super simple. It's all just text. Everything is a hack. There's no right answer. If it works, it works. It may be a hack, but it works, right? That's what's important. Oh, I got a text to Rooney. Yeah, I'm running slightly late, but we're going to try and make it to the 3-hour mark, everybody. 10 more minutes. Okay, just making excuses on my phone so that I have more time before people yell. Oh, but yeah, so if you feel like you're doing something the hacky way, that's a good first step. Vimy, you are so awesome. Thank you for bringing that positivity. You are right. Moralilo says lol. But he's right. He's absolutely right. Like, look at our compiler. If we actually look at our compiler, it is terrible. This code is awful. We have a main 600 lines down into the file, and there's just all sorts of different stuff above it. Nothing is organized. Everything's just kind of put next to each other. There's not even very much documentation on what any of this stuff does. It's not a great code base, right? There's like pictures. That's the best documentation we have is pictures written in ASCII. Do you see where we're at? So it's definitely all just a hack. We have to-dos everywhere. We have like enums nested within structure definitions, which is definitely not the best way to do things. It's horrible. This code is horrible. I'll come out and say it. It's less than optimal, right? But it works. We can compile it and it runs and we actually parse stuff. And that's all that works. That's all that matters, I mean, because getting something to work, that's much cooler than getting something to be correct, right? Like in math, if someone gave you a math problem and you were able to get the answer, but not describe how, like you can't say, oh yeah, 2 plus 2. The reason is because piano numbers, 2 is equal to the succession of 0, which is the only true number. So then the succession of 0 to the succession of 0, you can actually just add these successions together and have succession of 0, which can be represented as the integer value of 4. Nobody needs to say that. They can just know 2 plus 2, that's 4. I don't need to tell you why. I have the answer and it's correct, even if you do it in a hacky way, right? Girlfriend, are you coming today? Lens, I'm on my way. Write C code. That meme actually is fairly accurate. People are like, hey, we have a thing planned. Don't be late, because I'm usually always late or I just don't show up. And people get upset, which is fair. But they're like, don't be late. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting ready now. Code some more. They wonder when I show up, like, you haven't showered and you smell like a goblin. And it's like, well, yeah, had to get some stuff done, you know. But yeah, Moralilu, hopefully it helps. The text editor is completely open source, and it has the Lisp language built into it. So you can check out anything there if it helps you with the macros, figuring out how to bind arguments properly and stuff. Yeah, I think that makes sense. See, here we handle macros by just saying pass the arguments straight onto the stack and say that they don't need to be evaluated. Perfect. Okay, we can close the light code now. Okay. So now we are making some good progress, We now look up types within the environment. My brain, one last feature and we go to bed because work tomorrow. Looks at clock after. One last feature. And then it's 5 a.m. VMe has it down. Oh, also, I missed a follow. I feel so bad. Moralilu, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate that. Down below, there's a link to Discord, and you can head there. You may have heard this already, this little spiel, but you can head there and you can actually get notifications every time I go live. And you can also chat with everybody. We have a lot of fun. So I really recommend it. Come make friends. The only rule is be nice. But VMe, that is absolutely correct. You're like, this one last feature, I'm like, I'm almost done on it. Only 10 more minutes. And then it's and then it's the next day and you haven't slept. And it's like, well, I was close. So what would we like to do next? We would probably like to work on the operators and then work on type definitions, really. Be nice, play liar's dice. VMe, you are so awesome. I love your positivity. Oh, this is fun. Hey, look, today's stream, a little meta comment here. To become a Twitch affiliate, you must have an average of 3 viewers. Today's stream, we have an average of 3 viewers. It has actually happened today. Isn't that awesome? We were up to like 10 at one point. Isn't that crazy? Sorry, I'm just excited about that. I'm like, ooh, I may actually be able to do this. This is nice. It's happening. So I just want to thank all of you for watching, truthfully. I appreciate you so much. Woohoo! Hell yeah, VMe is partying. That's got to go on the stream. That's incredible. Look at this. He gave us 5 dancing rainbow cats. That's got to be on the internet worth at least like 18 schmeckles, right? This is incredible. Thank you so much, VMe. You make me smile. Oh. So awesome. So the way that we look up the type here and get the context. Also, I don't think I need to save the status like this. All right, that makes more sense. Yeah. Woohoo! We're gonna have bits in chat and like soon. Eventually, someday, somebody may actually click the donate button down below. Isn't that crazy? That kind of breaks my mind. I had even adding it, it was like nobody's gonna click this, but it seems like a reachable goal. It's crazy. Axe, hey, what is up, Axe? How's it going? You were here a few days ago, if I remember correctly. Oh, I gotta do a security code. Thank you, Twitch. Wonderful. All right. We are just about to finish up. We have been streaming for 3 hours. This has been a great stream. We had a lot of fun. We laughed. We made friends. I'm so happy. That went great. Should go here. Alrighty. This is looking good, looking good. Haha. Where was Discord link? Ooh, Moralilu. Sorry about that. It should be in the About section if you're on mobile. If you're on computer, I think we can just show. Ooh, you can't see what I'm typing yet, sorry. So if I, as a guest, go to my own stream, it's muted. Hey, look, we're here. So the GitHub link on desktop is actually just down here where it says About, and you can click down here on the Discord and it'll bring you there. When did you first start streaming? My first ever stream is still uploaded as a VOD on Twitch, so less than 2 weeks ago. If you check, I don't see any links. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll fix this. We'll get you your Discord link. You deserve one. I don't want to show sensitive information. Okay. I should probably just copy this from here. Heyo, there's the link. Moralilu sends a screenshot. This is actually interesting. There's none there. What? What? How? Ah! Is it light theme? No, I still have them on light theme. What the hell? I'm sorry, my guy. I don't know why. That must be a Twitch bug, or maybe I'm too small of a streamer. They don't trust me. I don't even know. In any case, maybe it's an extension. But I'm in a private window. Like, this is a guest window. I have no extensions enabled. This is just Brave. Oh, maybe Moralilu has an extension that hides it. I see what he's saying. Okay. You're right. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna create a new link here, and it'll be a Discord link so that the panel will show up no matter what. Because I saw in your screenshot you have this, so we'll actually get a Discord panel going in here. Maybe uBlock Origin blocks it. Ah, ad blocker. My own ads have been blocked on my own stream. Damn. Oh, that's really funny. That's cool. It is ads. It's true. I mean, my GitHub, I'm not making money off of Discord, GitHub, or YouTube. So, truthfully, the one ad that is there is actually the one that they show you, which is funny. But yeah, hopefully that, I'm glad you fixed it. That's good to know. Okay, we are still doing good. Get a new commit message. I will not apologize for art. That's good. Ooh, they have permalinks to each one. Ooh, with a hash. In the bottom left, you can see the URL. It's a hash. So they must have just a giant hash table. Cool. Who has 2 thumbs and remembers the rudiments of his linear algebra courses? Apparently, this guy. That's like after writing some matrix multiplication. You're like, I am a professor of mathematics. Or they simply hash the text. Oh, that's a good point. They could generate it dynamically and then hash the text. It could be the other way around. You're correct. Cool. We did it. Did we change things? I don't think we changed anything. Yeah, we did not change anything, just semantics of what the code looks like. So I think that will be it for today. We have a 3-hour stream as of now. That was exactly 3 hours. And I had so much fun today. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Moralilu, thank you for the follow. We had a lot of follows today, actually. Lego Brainiac, Hostman, Sim on the Swede, Roger Zanoni. Thank you so much to all of you for following. Be sure to check out that Discord down below to get actual notifications whenever I go live in the announcements channel. I really appreciate all of you. You're the best. Bye bye. I'll see you next time. And our compiler may actually generate code. Ooh. Let's do it. Bye. Thank you, Vimy. He says, great stream. I really appreciate you. You're the best. Your positivity is amazing. And I'll see you next time. Bye.